Hi, I'm Ron Jackson with PracticeJazzGuitar.com. I just played you my arrangement of one of my favorite jazz standards called Stella by Starlight. And I'm going to explain to you a little bit about my arrangement. This is in the advanced section of my website called PracticeJazzGuitar.com. And this is in the chord melody section. It's very important when you're playing a lesson like this to make sure you learn how to make the melody stand out in the chord solo, because the melody is the most important thing. I'm just going to show you a few things about the chord melody solo I just did for you, so you can see some of the techniques I actually used in the arrangement. Okay, I actually studied jazz composition and arranging when I was at Berklee College of Music, and I like to use little different techniques for reharmonization, etc. in everything I do with music. So the song actually starts like this. And in that part, I actually use an F minor 11 going down to an E minor 11 with a 9. It's just a simple reharmonization. All I did was take, since the melody was just a half step above the chord, I used exactly the same chord and just went down. But I added a 9 to make it sound kind of hip and cool with that open string chord. One of my favorite open string chords is this chord, the E minor 9 with 11. It's a really cool chord. Okay, and then I use an A7 chord to go to the next chord. I'm always keeping in mind the melody on top now, and I've just played a diminished chord, dominant 7, but I'm going up the scale. A diminished scale. Okay, the melody kind of goes through that. Then to a C minor 11. Nothing fancy. I could have added a 9 if I wanted. But I put that down to the 13 here. Then I use a tritone substitution, which is actually you're taking, when I go from the F to the B, I'm changing the flat 7 and the 3rd right here. I'm changing the bass note to that. A tritone substitution is actually you skip a string and you go up 1 fret. Okay. And here you go up 2 frets between the G and the B string. So all I did was change the bass note and kept the same melody and basically the same chord. Actually, I did that, the sharp 11 and the 9. Okay, now what's really cool is I went to the 9. The melody has the 9 on top. Now I'm keeping in mind the melody all the time. The melody can be a 9, can be anything actually. I made a F minor 9 with an 11. Nice full rich chord. And what I did was, instead of doing a B flat 7, I did a tritone substitution again. B flat to E, and I put a sharp 9 on top. And with that bass note ringing, I still can do I did a 13 with a 13 chord with a flat 9, because the melody is a flat 9 now, since I made that into a E dominant 7 chord. I made a natural 13 to a flat 13. Back to the sharp 9. Since the B's flat is so low, I put an add 9, or add 2 actually right here. Up the scale, which is an E flat to an F. So it gives it a more, a cooler sound, a richer sound. So this sounds like this. So I have a little line going there, which is really cool. I like to use inner lines. I learned this from hearing George Van Epps play and studying with Bucky Pizzarelli. They like to put lines within the chord, which sounds really cool. So I went to the A dominant flat 9, A dominant 7 flat 9. A flat 7 with a a 9, which is on the melody, and then I followed the melody up, made it a sharp 9, A7, sharp 9, okay? Then I like to use this technique in the next part of the melody, in the B section, where it starts with a B major 7. It's kind of like the intro. I use the same chord, we call it a flat 2 major 7, and just follow down the melody, which is diatonic. I actually could have used a C minor, but I wanted to make it sound a little bit hipper. Okay, and now all I did was went down the chord scale, actually the chords, diatonic chords in the key of B flat. Diatonic means within the same key. Now if you study some jazz harmony, there are diatonic chords that are natural to every key. So if you have more time, take a look on the internet or on my website, practicejazzguitar.com. In the beginner section, we talk about diatonic chords and all the naturally occurring diatonic chords. So I just went down the scale from this flat 2, then down the scale. Okay, and this chord is actually a 2-5 progression, E minor 7 to E minor 7 flat 5 to A7. Okay, and I just went to lead up to that chord. So that bass line went like a bass player would play, actually. Okay, just to make it sound really cool, and give it some more interest harmonically and melodically. I went down like this. Then I went to the A7, and I went from a sharp 9 again, natural 9, in the chord within the melody. Within the chord, actually. Okay, and then I went to a D minor 11. I did a little reharmonization here, which is a sharp. We're actually in the key of F for a minute, so I went to the sharp 4 minor 7 flat 5. It's like a descending bass line. So I use chords with that. Then I use the G minor 7 flat 5 is like a substitution to me. It's almost like an B flat minor 7, B flat minor 6 too, actually. So I like to use that against the melody. I could have went diatonic again, but I didn't. From G minor, I made G minor 7 flat 5. And then I went down the scale again to follow the melody. Okay, it diminished again. Then the A minor 7 flat 5. What I did there, I put a lot of line cliche in the melody again, leading up to the D7 flat 9, which is like a diminished chord. Then I use a flat 5. It's like using a tritone substitution. Now this just goes with the melody now, the G7, flat 13, sharp 9. Then I use a tritone substitution again. I use that again on this part of the chord, on the D7 13, D flat 7 13. Then I use a stretching C minor 11 chord. Use diatonic 6 going down off that chord, okay, using the Dorian scale. Okay, and then again. Now here, this is out of the scale, okay. And then I use a A7 sharp 9, which I like to use a lot. Dominant 7 sharp 9 on a major 7th chord instead of this is being used against the B flat major 7th chord. I like to do that. It's actually what we call a diminished major 7th, but I'm using the A7 instead against it. Okay, this might be over your head for some of you, but I'm trying to explain best I can. understand, some people won't, but you'll get an idea about what I'm trying to do. So what I actually did from there, from the A7, then I went diatonic again. I was using all these passing tones again. Like the introduction, like the beginning of letter A, the first bar I did this, but then I made a minor 7 flat 5 this time when I got to the melody. Then I did back to the A7 sharp 9, flat 9, excuse me. Diminished, and then I use what we call, I used a run here, what we're calling, we call this in jazz, we call these actually chromatic 2/5s. I'm going down one fret at a time. So I'm going from E flat to A flat to D minor, E flat minor 7 to A flat 7 to D minor 7 to G7 to D flat minor 7 to G flat 7 to C minor 7 to F7 actually. But I'm doing that through the melody here actually. So it sounds like this. It goes. See what I'm doing? So I'm actually doing that whole progression with the melody thrown in there, and actually with some you know, other cool chords thrown in, like when I go from the E flat minor 9, then I use A flat leading to the G7 sharp 5, then I use that chromatic 2/5 again, because I replaced that. Instead of doing a C minor 7 flat 5, which is the original method, I will with the D flat to G flat, okay? And I like to use against a minor 7 flat 5, I like to add a natural 9. It's a really cool sound. And then I use a 13 with a flat 9 on top. And that's the end of the song. So you got a little idea of how I arranged Stella by Starlight for you. I hope you enjoy playing it as much as I enjoyed writing it and playing it for you. And I'm Ron Jackson with PracticeJazzGuitar.com. Please subscribe to my channel and to my website, PracticeJazzGuitar.com. And I hope to see you guys on there someplace in the world. Have a great night. Thank you. Bye-bye.